Liquidator coming back with another video that looked like WNBA Commissioner singing a different tune about Caitlin.
Shame on you. Cathy Engelbert pens this beautiful article written by Cathy about Cathy for Cathy, explaining why she is solely responsible for the boom of the WNBA. Folks, I wish I was kidding, but I'm not. The commissioner of the WNBA on transferring the league ahead of a breakout season. And what was that plan that Cathy Engelbert put in place? Working in partnership with my new WNBA team members, NBA colleagues, and WNBA owners, we developed a strategy with 3 pillars. The league would think player first. Wow.
Caitlin Clark is out here shattering records, filling arenas like she's Taylor Swift with a jump shot, and somehow the WNBA Commissioner thinks she's the real MVP. Did she average 30 points a game or just 30 press releases a day? We're unpacking the comedy gold of pretending the league just magically exploded while ignoring the human highlight reel actually making it happen. This isn't just a snub, it's a masterclass in missing me. Obvious grab popcorn, this one's gloriously ridiculous.
Yes, man, you guys heard me correctly. None other than Cathy Engelbert is singing a different tune this season about Caitlin Clark. Now, we know last year she was talking about all of the other rookies being included in this, making a difference, being able to help contribute to the big bang of the WNBA. This time around, she's owing it all to Caitlin Clark. Me personally, I told y'all this at the beginning of the month. The chickens was coming home to roost for the WNBA, because I'm telling you right now, there has been a lot of spooky things going on and people is tired.
Let's be real, what we're witnessing isn't just a power struggle, it's a full-on WWE SmackDown front office edition. Caitlin Clark walks into the WNBA, grabs the league by the shoulders, shakes it awake, and suddenly everyone's tuning in, tweeting, and showing up to games like it's Coachella for basketball. And yet Cathy Engelbert, the WNBA Commissioner, is standing there like a substitute teacher, insisting she deserves credit for the students suddenly getting A's go.
Drive stakeholder success. Cathy, you are a revolutionary and work on transforming the fan experience. You are a visionary. Cathy Engelbert, in this long drawn-out article, goes on and gives herself credit for why the WNBA has finally entered some type of mainstream conversation, has finally entered some type of casual viewing experience. Yeah, I'll turn it on. It's about...
See, the issue here isn't that Cathy Engelbert doesn't recognize Caitlin Clark's impact, it's that she absolutely does, and it terrifies her because when one rookie commands more media attention, more fan engagement, and more merch sales in the league office, as in say the last decade, we're talking about a power shift so massive it should come with A.
Why does everybody hate Caitlin Clark? And do you hate Caitlin Clark? Come on, talk
dude.
to me.
Absolutely not. I think that she's a gem. I didn't know her, but All-Star Weekend, we kind of bantered back and forth a little bit. And she's lovely. She has a lot of pressure on her shoulders. And I think a lot of people always have a lot to say with people they don't even know or shoes they've never been in. And for me, I think she's handling the pressure very well. She's doing a lot of great things for women's basketball. And I'm a fan. Like, I would love to play with her one day.
Warning, why does everybody hate Caitlin Clark? And do you hate Caitlin Clark, dude? Absolutely not. I think that she's a gem. I didn't know her. But All-Star Weekend, we kind of bantered back and forth a little bit. And she's lovely. She has a lot of pressure on her shoulders. And I think a lot of people always have a lot to say with people they don't even know or shoes they've never been in. And for me, I think she's handling the pressure very well. She's doing a lot of great things for women's basketball, and I'm a fan. Like, I would love to play with her one day, for real. Let's be honest, Engelbert has been commissioner since 2019, and sure, the league's made some steady improvements, but Caitlin Clark didn't walk in and nudge the needle. She drop-kicked it. She didn't just elevate the game, she turned it into a national conversation. And what's more threatening to a bureaucrat than a player the public sees as more influential than the person technically in charge?
But Cathy Engelbert, in her naivete or in her delusion, she takes credit for it. Instead of saying it's because of Caitlin Clark, instead of saying it's because of the person from Iowa, instead of saying it was because of her, Cathy says, oh, it's all me. My strategy, my plan, my 3 pillars. In this entire article, Cathy Engelbert mentions Caitlin Clark's name 2, maybe 3 times. Angel Reese's name once. Cameron Brink's name once. Let's get right into it because this article, from start to finish, is disgusting.
And this is where the comedy writes itself. The WNBA is trying to operate like a Fortune 500 company with a strict hierarchy commissioner at the top players somewhere near the basement next to the equipment bags. But Caitlin Clark, she skipped the org chart. She leapfrogged straight to being the face of the league without asking permission or filling out the request to become an icon form, and triplicate now Engelbert's in a pickle she's trying to maintain. Control, preserve her narrative, and make sure she's not overshadowed. But here's the plot twist she already is. Clark doesn't need to fight for power, she already has it. She's the one filling arenas, driving broadcast deals, and lighting up highlight reels of fans aren't showing up, but we love bureaucratic oversight signs. They're wearing Clark 22 jerseys and screaming like they just saw Beyonce. But Cathy can't exactly walk out and say, you know what, Caitlin Clark is a reason this league's on fire right now. Because that would mean admitting she's been outshined in her own league by a 22-year-old rookie. That's not just humbling, it's basically handing over the car keys and saying, drive us into the...
Towards everyone, the general public that is, flocking. Is Caitlin playing today? If so, is it on TV? And now there's no Caitlin for a couple of weeks. Do you feel that wind out of the balloon with no Caitlin Clark for 2 weeks?
Yeah, it does, because not only to mention that, like, no one's buying like, either people are refunding their tickets or they're just not going to go to the game. It really does show how much of an impact Caitlin Clark has in the league, because she brought the viewership to the league where no one really has, because, like, obviously she's been on the social media high rise since she was like in Iowa, and has brought that over to the WNBA. So the fact that this kind of impact, it just shows how much of impact she can make in the WNBA.
So instead, she's gone full corporate doublespeak. The league's growth is due to long-term strategic planning. She says as Caitlin Clark's face is on every billboard and ESPN alert like a walking, talking contradiction. Strategic planning, the strategy was hope someone like Caitlin Clark shows up and makes us relevant. And it gets better. While Engelbert is playing PR Waddle trying to downplay the Clark effect, Caitlin is out here casually, redefining what it means to be a rookie. She's not just playing, she's performing, and the whole world watching. The commissioner may sign the paychecks, but Clark's the one bringing the revenue to write them. What makes it all the more hilarious is how obvious it is to everyone else. The media knows, the fans know, even rival players, some of whom are gritting their teeth while tweeting through the jealousy no. But Engelbert is still trying to cosplay as the architect of this cultural moment. That's like someone standing next to her. Wildfire with a big lied to yelling I started this, but let's also not forget power in sports isn't just about title or tenure, it's about influence, and influence is exactly what Clark is in truckload. She influences viewership numbers, ticket sales, brand endorsements, and even team travel schedules.
Only going to touch on the main points. By nearly every metric, 2024 was a standout year for the Women's National Basketball Association. As transcendent rookies, Caitlin Clark, there it is, Angel Reese, there she is, and Cameron Brink, yet again, entered the league. Regular season games drew an average of 1.2 million viewers, up 170% from the previous season. Let's stop right there. Pull up. Skirt. Interesting, Cathy. So you are telling me that regular season games drew an average of 1.2 million viewers. You guys have all seen this tweet before by Mr. Michael Mulvihill. Final WNBA regular season viewership, all rated networks. Caitlin Clark games, 1.178 million. All other games not featuring Caitlin Clark, 394,000. But Ben, this is just a Twitter person. How am I supposed to take this at face? Fair point, folks, but you know I'll never come and lie to you.
Engelbert might hold the title of commissioner, but Caitlin Clark holds the pulse of the people. If she tweets it, it trends. If she plays, they watch it. She breathes, it gets clipped and analyzed like it's a Zruda film. And you know Cathy sees that she has the numbers a day to the Google alerts. She probably wakes up every morning to 5 new headlines, starting with Caitlin Clark, and ends every staff meeting with someone whispering, we should probably thank Caitlin again. But instead of embracing it with grace, she's out here trying to gatekeep the success, like she's worried Clark might accidentally unlock her office and start running board meetings. But this is where it gets Shakespearean, because when power meets insecurity, you get chaos, you get awkward interviews, you get bizarre statements like this has been years in the making. While the ratings graph literally skyrockets, only after Clark's debut, it's like standing in front of a mirror with spinach in your Teeth insisting you have everything under control. There's a weird kind of comedy in watching an organization try to control a narrative that's already run off with the MIC. The more Cathy downplays Clark, the more obvious it becomes that Clark is a reason people are suddenly asking, wait, when does the next WNBA game start? It's like watching someone deny the sun's existence while wearing sunglasses and sunscreen.
This is only women that get this. I'm tired of it. Like, here's my thing, you guys. What else? Who are these girls? Who are these girls that are hating on Caitlin Clark? Are you just combing through Twitter? What else are these women supposed to do? Fawn over her? Fangirl over her? Bend the fucking knee? Kiss the ring? Like, what do you want from them? We cannot, every time the girl plays a game, she got 40 games, guys. She got 35 more games. We are not every single game gonna revisit and retread this same tired ass rhetoric that all these girls are hating on her, and they need to be thankful they have been.
So yes, this is a power play, but not the kind where you draw up excess and O's. This is a psychological cage match, and Cathy Engelbert is outmatched because the moment she acknowledges Clark as a force behind the league's renaissance, she also admits she's no longer the main character. And when your entire job is to be the face of the league, that stings a little, but hey, at least she can always take credit for the charter flights maybe, and let's be real at this point. Caitlin Clark needs to stop playing nice and start flipping tables enough with the polite media answers and the humble Iowa girl act. It's time to demand stuffed charter flights, try private jets media deals only if she's producing the documentary, because clearly the league isn't going to do anything on its own unless she grabs the MIC kicks over the podium and starts issuing ultimatums like a pop star with tour demand no Gatorade unless there's a functioning espresso machine in the locker room and a unicorn-shaped ice bath. The proof's right there, neon flashing in our faces. Nothing changes unless Clark forces it to. And this whole bizarre attempt to minimize her impact is not some strategic oversight. It's not giving her space to grow its jealousy. Pure, unfiltered, high-octane, schoolyard-style jealousy. Cathy Engelbert sees Caitlin Clark doing more for the league in a week than a decade of committees, brand consultants, and PowerPoint decks ever did. And it's burning her up inside like she just swallowed a jalapeno. Smoothie.
Rewind the clock 3 years ago. What you said then compared to what you would say now?
Yeah, again, we were in a very different place 3 years ago. I think the quality of the game was there, but the marketing wasn't there. The dollars and everything that it takes to get a national exposure. And I think our broadcast partners like ESPN have stepped up in a huge way. Our marketing partners, our corporate partners, we've done great from a revenue perspective there. So I would have said 3 years ago, maybe we weren't ready for this moment, but that's why we raised that capital. We came off the pandemic year, which was tough for us because that was a pretty existential.
You can smell the pettiness from half court because let's face it, if Caitlin Clark were a faceless cog in the WNBA machine, just another rookie trying to crack the rotation, the commission will be sending bouquets and shouting her stats from rooftops. But because Clark is bigger than the system, because she's pulling focus, grabbing headlines, and God forbid making the league look like it owes her, now suddenly it's radio silence, or worse, it's the awkward way all growing together corporate double speak that feels like being gaslit in a press release. Here's the thing about jealous people in power: they don't just ignore you, they actively work to dull your shine. And make no mistake that what we're watching unfold, Caitlin Clark is bringing in fans by the millions, sparking conversations nationwide. And yet Cathy Engelbert can't even be bothered to mention her name unless it's buried under a list of vague long-term strategies. It's like trying to talk about iPhones without mentioning Steve Jobs. Imagine Beyonce launching a new album and her record label being like, yeah, well, we also added some new vending machines to the office. That's what this sounds like every time Cathy takes credit for the league's growth.
Caitlin Clark's treatment by other players on the court is just getting to be egregious. Because as we saw Trinity Carter, she hip-checked Caitlin Clark from behind, at the same time calling her the B word. You could see Angel Reese over on the sideline cheering. This is treatment that Caitlin Clark is receiving for very specific reasons. I think we really need to focus on the race part of all of this, because I do believe that if Caitlin Clark were this amazing and she were not white, nobody would have an issue with it. They probably would be propping her up, celebrating her greatness. And another question that I keep asking myself when reading the coverage on this is what would happen if the roles were
not just a missed opportunity, it's an act of willful sabotage. The WNBA finally gets a once-in-a-generation player who could turn everything around, and the commissioner's out here acting like she's allergic to attention. If professional self-sabotage with a side of ego salad instead of building Caitlin a statue, they're giving her a cold shoulder and a travel schedule that looks like it was made by someone with a dartboard and a grudge in Caitlin's. Patience, it's admirable, it really is, but At some point, you have to realize that humility won't save you from being overlooked, especially not in a league that's still figuring out how to schedule a game without double booking it with a janitorial staff. This is no longer about owning your spot. She is a spot. She's a reason people are watching. She's a plot, the storyline, the trailer, the credits, and the sequel. So yes, it's time to start demanding things, start throwing elbows in the boardroom, because the longer she waits, the more comfortable the league gets, pretending like her magic just sort of happened as part of their grand design. And if she doesn't own her power soon, they'll keep exploiting it while giving her zero credit, just like they are doing now. And let's not kid ourselves, this isn't going to get better unless she shakes the system from the top down.
People have a schizophrenic relationship with winners. When you're an underdog, they feel impelled to root for you. But if you're up too long, you better grab a help. And Caitlin Clark has now become up for too long, because now haters jumping out the woodwork. Now everybody's like, wait a second, why you offering her $5 million to play in the league? Why is she getting a 96-page story in magazine issues? Why is she getting all this attention? There's been Candace Parker, there's been Skylar Diggins, there's been Maya Moore, there's been Lisa Leslie's. Why just now all the attention for Caitlin Clark? The reason I hate it is because people are starting to paint a bullseye on her back. And she ain't got nothing to do with the...
Here's a danger. Engelbert refuses to acknowledge Caitlin Clark is not stuck in the WNBA. She's choosing to be here. She could walk into the broadcasting world, endorsement deals, hell, even a global free and re-exhibition circuit, and make more money, more headlines, and more fans in the entire league's postseason. If the WNBA doesn't start acting like they know what they got, they might lose the very person propping the whole circus up. And then what then? Cathy Engelbert will really get what she wants: a league with no star bigger than her, just her, an empty press room, and a sad little PowerPoint slide titled Q3 growth metrics starring no one. And that, folks, would be the funniest, saddest, most ironically avoidable downfall in sports history. And yet Cathy Engelbert still can't bring herself to say the words Caitlin Clark is a reason we're relevant. It's almost impressive the Olympic-level mental gymnastics it takes to publicly talk about WNBA growth while tiptoeing around a human tidal wave that calls it. Caitlin Clark is out here selling out arenas like she's a Taylor Swift of basketball, and Cathy's acting like it's just a coincidence. Oh wow, look at all these fans, they must have come to see him increase organizational synergy. No, Cathy, they came to see Caitlin, the CLIP 12. She's not just a player, she's a show, she's the lights, the ticket sales, the ESPN coverage, the pregame buzz, the postgame headlines, the entire reason your niece finally knows what the WNBA even is. She is the product. And the idea that the commissioner of the league can't simply say she's our star and we're lucky to have her is beyond petty. It's professional malpractice. This isn't 1998, you're not hiding your star player, so the league looks balanced. You don't hide Beyonce in the back row, so the rest of Destiny's Child gets a turn. You promote the icon, you build the league around the icon, because Caitlin isn't just good for business, she is a business. And until the people in charge stop pretending she's just another jersey number, they're not growing the WNBA.
The WNBA, they're hating on Caitlin Clark. What do we think of Chennedy Carter's foul?
It's dirty. Like, I get it. Like, you're trying to prove a point and, you know, be a little physical, but still a cheap shot. You cannot do that in any level of basketball.
As Caitlin Clark
no
would say,
matter what.
It's not a basketball play.
It is not.
And I do agree.
I think that they were trying to, they're trying to hurt the person that's trying to get all of them paid more.
The last thing I seen was her saying, besides three-point shooting, what does she bring to the table? Whoa, why you hating?
Lots of money, bitch.
She is a phenomenal passer.
She said, we grown as fuck, and you're all talking about enforcing